你们好, I'm Diane Neubauer, or Du Yanzi, and this summer I am going to be leading a book club on one chapter from Santi, the science fiction trilogy by Liu Cixin. The reason this will be one chapter only is because this is designed for more intermediate and upper intermediate and kind of advanced low kinds of learners who might find this a little bit too much out of reach for yourself at this point on your own. This is where my Chinese learning level is, reading books like this. And so, as you may have noticed, I am a non-native speaker of Chinese. So we are going to be facilitating understanding of the background of this story and of this one chapter in particular. It is not listed as chapter one in versions like this one printed in the People's Republic. In my copy, it's chapter 7, 凤凰年代, and all about the Cultural Revolution. The reason I chose that chapter is because it is rich in references to history, has powerful imagery, and it sets up the entire trilogy and why the events of the entire trilogy begin. And so it is less science fiction-y and much more historical fiction in that one chapter, but it leads into the way that the whole book then unfolds, or actually all three books in the series unfold. So I have read Santi and part of the second volume of this trilogy, and I enjoy it a lot. I think Liu Cixin's writing is, particularly in that chapter, it's vivid, it's dramatic, and it is also something to observe. There are some difficult subjects brought up in that. Death, violence, the Cultural Revolution, as you may know, is a violent time in Chinese history, and there are depictions of death. There's mention of suicide in the chapter. And so be aware that that will be some of the content. Take care of yourself if you choose to attend the book club. So what am I expecting you to do then? Before class, it's great. I think one way to prepare, if you want a spoiler-free experience, I'm going to try to allow for that. So I'm not going to try to treat it like you know the whole chapter when we begin in the first week, but we'll just be relating that one chapter. If you can preview a little bit so that you have some sense of where the level is, maybe what some of the topics will be in that section, and I'll send out which lines of text are we going to be focused on each lesson. And then really that's it. I don't expect you to do hard, intensive reading on your own. The whole goal of this book club is to make this text more comprehensible and enjoyable, and then to enjoy talking with and thinking about the themes, the imagery, the characterization, the background, the history of China that it depicts, and looking into all of those different subjects. So this isn't really going to be a class in class where I'm either drilling you on your pronunciation or vocabulary knowledge or any of that. If we hit words that are hard to understand, I have my little literal physical whiteboard where I'm going to write up the word in pinyin, typically, sometimes in characters. Since we have the text right there, maybe characters. We might check for pinyin and maybe give an English gloss in that context. What does that word or phrase mean? And then so that we can continue to talk about the text comprehensively. I think I've kind of described the class itself, but there are some resources very graciously provided by Anne Giles, who is the one who actually spurred on the idea of doing this class. I've done book clubs before online through Zoom, like this will be, but it has been mainly with learners at an earlier intermediate level or a more advanced novice level, novice high to intermediate low if you're tracking with ACTFL proficiency ratings. This time we're going a little bit higher and for a much more advanced text. And so it's an experiment for me that I'm excited to try as well. So I'm now sharing screen to show some of the resources that Anne Giles has very amazingly put together and generously shared with us. So Anne is quite a student of Chinese and has put together detailed annotated lists of each sentence from the chapter, including vocabulary. So I'm going to open this link so you can see the kinds of resources that are available to you in the class if you wish to really go deeply into vocabulary or vocabulary study. Again, in class, this isn't going to be required to be able to attend and to really fully participate, but it might be something that you're interested in, and it's certainly a great resource. So each sentence is present there, possibly more challenging vocabulary could be there. And so it's broken down very specifically for each sentence in the chapter. So those are available if you would like them. Again, we're going to be using reference to vocabulary or to grammar in order to understand the meaning of the text so that we can think about the ideas that it contains and learn from it and discuss it and experience it as readers. So there are also some links here to a great audio version of the book linked to the chapter that we're going to be talking about right there. So that's this long video, but that's available freely online on YouTube. Another thing that is freely available on YouTube is this 30-episode series from Chinese TV of Santi portrayed as a drama. And I've only seen part of this so far. By the time we do the book, I'll see the whole thing. They seem to have skipped the chapter that we're going to read, and I presume that is because of the content. It is dramatic and it is a little bit sensitive in mainland China to talk in depth about the Cultural Revolution, but it is still published in the book, just tucked inside a few chapters. So this will be available too. The Chinese miniseries goes very, very closely along with each chapter of the book, with that exception of the chapter that we're going to be discussing and reading together. So those are all available if you join. If you see the Google form, go ahead. If you're interested and you have questions, you can fill that out and ask a question in the last item of the Google form. If you'd like to already sign up, details are there of the dates and the times and the cost. And I will get in touch with you once I get those forms. I think I've said everything that I wanted to say. So thanks for your interest, and look forward to seeing some of you this summer.